Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to So Connected. This podcast is designed to discuss topics that leave you feeling more connected to yourself and to the world around you. My name is Sophia, and today we are talking about everything because this is a Q&A episode. In my very first, let me turn my car off. In my very first episode of So Connected, I said that we would be doing a monthly Q&A. So that's what this is, even though it is coming on in January. But yeah, this is the Q&A for December. I asked the people who follow me on Instagram to ask me any questions that they have on anything. So that's what this episode is about. Relationships, skincare, loving yourself. What made me come into this career? What made me pursue healthcare and wellness, all that stuff? Those are the questions that we're diving into today. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then this episode is for you. Firstly, I want to say Happy New Year because it is the new year as you're watching this. And I just want to take the time to say that I'm grateful for you for being here, for taking your time to spend it with me because time is money. So you're spending your money on me. Ah! I feel very blessed for that. But I really pray that this year is the year where you come into yourself. It's the year where you rest. It's the year where you nurture because most of us are focusing on growing, which is great, and goals, but nurturing is also just as important. In fact, when you nurture the things that you already have, growth is inevitable. So, this is the year for you to reflect on the things that you like about your life. What do you like? What gives you joy about your life? What do you not like? What did you not like about 2023? And how do we move forward from that? Without this reflection, 2024 might be another blur for you because you haven't become clear on what you want. But ultimately, I just pray for God's guidance and covering over you and all of us, the whole world, because we need it. But above all, I pray that this is the year that you step into your purpose. You step into the thing that you're supposed to do that you have been maybe avoiding. Maybe you don't know it. Maybe you think you're not ready. Fear is making you think that, you're not ready. You're waiting for that fear to leave and it's not leaving. It's been years and years and years. I hope this is the year where you decide to move with fear. Put it on your shoulder and move with it because it's not going anywhere. I think that there's so much potential in this year based off of what was revealed in 2023. There's so much potential for all of us, as my veil unravels. There's so much potential for all of us to really be everything because we're at the time where the world is extremely abundant. We have so much knowledge, so much information, a lot of resources, but it's really about becoming intentional about how we use these things, how we come off, becoming intentional about how we come off in the world, what we're putting in the world through our words, our thoughts, our emotions, how we relate to people. All of that. I just pray that this is the year where we become better for real, because it is so necessary. It is so necessary. Oh, and I'm speaking to you, but I'm really speaking to myself because I need to hear everything I just said right there. I know that for me, this is the year where I'm really breaking out for real, because last year was a test run. I turned 29, I came on this YouTube, just even this whole social media thing, and decided to put myself out there. And then during that year, I saw what works, what doesn't work, what I actually truly care about, how how my intentions were a bit unclear at the beginning and how they became very clear towards the end, but it's because I started. And through that starting, that's when everything became clear. So that's why I really, really encourage you to start. I started with fear as well. I remember recording that video on my Instagram and all my friends encouraging me and all that stuff. And now it's been a year. Well, it's about to be a year since I put up my very first video on this YouTube. So I'm excited for the growth of this year because in this year I'm actually determined to remain consistent, to take this actually really seriously and look at it as my second job because oh my god, having a 9 to 5 like a job and then having this social media thing is really hard. But when you actually love the thing that you're doing, when you're committed to that vision, it's not that hard. It's really, you have to prioritize. So for me this year, I predict more solitude on my end, but also at the same time, I predict making more connections, more genuine connections. I just I just want to spend my time intentionally wherever I spend it, whether it's with myself or with other people. I just want to be intentional, more intentional. Anyway, that's me. Let's dive into this Q&A. All right, first question. She says, how to step into, well, she didn't say how to, but that's what I'm assuming she meant. How to step into dating healthy men while loving myself 100%. Firstly, firstly, I think dating men, healthy men is great, but you have no control over that. You have no control over the kind of man that you deal with up until you're with him. Because even someone who is healthy can show signs of unhealthiness in different ways in their behaviors. So for me, I think I would focus on what I can control, which is really loving yourself. And then dating healthy men will hopefully come eventually. But I don't think you should focus a lot on dating healthy men because it's like you're, I don't know. I don't know if I'm saying this right. Give me a second to think. The intention is great to date the healthy men, but I don't think it's in your control. What is in your control is the loving yourself 100%. So that's what I'm going to talk about. Loving yourself 100% is you becoming truly curious about yourself. Not just your childhood, not just your teenage years. You're curious about yourself every day. You want to know more about you because you're changing every day. And as you change, the things that you like change, the things that you don't like change. The things that you once didn't like, you might like now, So I think that as you're loving yourself 100%, there has to be that open-mindedness to change, to you changing, not being so rigid. And I think with that attracts that healthy man that you want because you're also flexible. I think being rigid and being so focused on specific things can block you from so much of the world, like so much the world. I think the best things in this world really require open-mindedness, taking away judgment, taking away any kind of perceptions that we might have about things and going in open. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't even think I answered that question because I really think that once you love yourself, everything else aligns. It just does. So, I think I would focus on that, loving yourself 100% and defining what that means to you. Don't look at society, don't look at your family, your friends, or you decide what loving yourself means. And by that I mean, what are the things that make you feel good about yourself? But even further than that, what are the things that help you become a better person? Because some things don't feel good, but they help you become a better person. For example, going to the gym. As you're working out, sometimes it's truly painful, but it does help you become a healthier person. So that is loving yourself. Sometimes you are going to do things that may not be comfortable in the moment, but they benefit you in the long run. So I think if you focus on that, stepping into dating healthy men is already going to be, you know, is already going to be clear. You don't need to worry about that. Just worry about loving yourself. Loving yourself, taking care of yourself, taking care of your mind, of your thoughts, the things that go into your mind. Knowledge, seeking knowledge. I'm talking about the things that. So, actually, let me give you an example. An example for me. What loving myself means right now to me. I need to add to me because everybody has their own list. So, for me, loving myself in this moment, it means that I ask myself what I'm doing in the day. Like, I take time to actually plan my day. It could be in my mind, I could plan it in my mind, or write down the things that I want to achieve in the day, that I want to get done. It could just be one thing. For me, that makes me feel like I'm loving myself because I'm doing something that helps me. It could be going to the gym. Maybe I'm working on a post and putting it up. Whatever it is that contributes to me being a better person, loving myself. Praying on time, that contributes to me being a better person in terms of my mindset. How if I'm showing up on for my prayers on time, everything else is in line for me. So when I do that, I'm loving myself. I'm showing up for myself through showing up to my creator. That's how I show up for myself. You are going to have to decide all of this for you when it comes to health, when it comes to your mental health, when it comes to your emotional health, your physical health, your spiritual health. You're going to decide what loving yourself looks like for you. And then once you decide that, you're going to look for a partner that aligns with those values, aligns with those things. That way, you're not really clashing. Because you might find a healthy man, but your values are not aligning with theirs. So it's like, you're not going to work. Yeah. So for that question, I would say to just focus on loving yourself and to maintain that genuine curiosity about yourself and your emotions and your thoughts and your life and your relationships. Yeah. Okay. The next question is, skincare routine, please. When it comes to skincare, I have so much to say about skincare actually. Because, actually, let me give you a small story time. In 2019, I remember so well because it was 2019, my last year of college, graduating in December. I started having breakouts in like May of that year. My skin was not like that. My skin was not breaking out like that. My skin was very clear, breaks out maybe during my period, but it wasn't the way it was during that time. My skin was breaking out like non-stop. But when I look back to what triggered it, my skin we were bawling, kind of like today. It looked all right. It was okay. In fact, it was great. It was great. I was just what's the word? I was not content with how great it was. I wanted it to be greater. You know when people compliment your skin, but you feel like, oh, it could even be greater? Like, I never even used to accept the compliments I was getting. But I have hyperpigmentation here. Oh, but I have this. And all that, I discredited my skin at the time when it looked the best. The best it's ever looked. In fact, during that time, when it looked the best, I was buying more product to make it look even better. Isn't that greed? Anyway, this greed turned my skin into a problem. My skin started to break out because I introduced products. I think this product had like retinol, all those actives that are very strong for your skin. And my skin was not used to that. My skin was the kind of skin you could put anything on it and it would be okay. I was using coconut oil on my skin and it was popping. I was using all kinds of oils. It was not sensitive skin. Like I would put Vaseline on a good day. Like it didn't care. But I started using those things. I know hyaluronic acid really helped me prior to breaking out. Hyaluronic acid did help. But what I added onto that, the retinols, I think is what ruined everything. Because, whoa, I broke out like a problem. Now, because I was in college, I thought it's because I'm stressed, so many assignments, I have work, I have all these things going on. Maybe that's why I'm breaking out. So I didn't take it seriously. But then, first of all, when you're not used to breaking out, the first thing you do, every time in the morning you see a pimple, it's like, that's the first thing you attack. Every day, I see a pimple, press it, press it. Every morning, press. And it's like every morning, there was something new for me to press. It's like I was manifesting these pimples. Because every morning, I already knew I have to press you, get out of my face. And then the pimple becomes worse, the dark spots, and then it creates more pimples. Woo! I was obsessive with my skin at the time. Anytime I looked at my face, all I saw was pimples. I did not see any beauty. I did not see anything. My confidence started to go down. I was a person who would chill without makeup. Now I can't go to work without any makeup because I was breaking out. I can't even go to college without makeup. College with makeup? I used to do that once in a while when I felt good, but at some point as a full-time student, makeup made no sense during college. So when I started wearing makeup again, that's when I knew that my self-confidence had really been hit. Okay? And these pimples could not stop. They kept coming. But when I tell you that that's all I thought about every day, pimples. Discussing pimples. I remember talking to my friend like, oh my God, I'm breaking out. I don't know what's going on with my skin. Just spreading this energy. Honestly, for me during that time, well, after my skin healed, because that went on for a while, at least a year of my skin breaking out like a problem. I was in filters. I couldn't get out of filters. Snapchat. Honestly, people didn't even know. Most people didn't know that my skin had a problem because I hid it. And people were so used to me having nice skin. So at the time, I was just like, is someone giving me evil? What is going on? It really made me question a lot of things. But during that time, I also became extremely compassionate and empathized with people who have PCOS, people who have had acne all their lives, because my goodness, it really can take over. And I also during that time, I was working at a dermatology pharmacy. And because of that, of course, you see a lot of people with a lot of acne, people who have a lot of skin problems. And actually, during that time is when I learned about all these different drugs and how birth control can help with, acne. There's so many things that you learn, Accutane, all that stuff. And then you realize that for me at least at the time, I realized obsessing over your skin literally manifests pimples. I need you to try it out if you're someone who's struggling with acne. When you look at your face, maybe after today, look at everything else but your pimples. Admire your eyebrows. Look at your eyes. Look at your teeth, your mouth. Look at everything else but the pimples. Try to do that, because that training is what I did. I started waking up and looking at everything else but my pimples. In fact, I started noticing progress. For example, if I woke up and maybe I didn't have a new breakout, I'd be grateful for that. I'm like, yeah, we have dark spots, we have these pimples, but at least I don't have a new breakout. I started being grateful for any progress I saw on my skin, on the days even when I was breaking up and my skin is glowing, I would say at least it's glowing. I try to focus on the good things about my skin. And with everything I do in coaching and stuff, I fully understand that your mindset when it comes to your skin is so important. Like, if you see it as something that you're going to deal with for the rest of your life, that might be your reality. But what's wrong with believing the alternative, even though everything around you is saying the opposite? I watched so many people during that time who had skin problems, and a lot of them, people who had healed or people whose skin problems had gone away, they said the same thing I'm saying. They said that they stopped obsessing over their skin. They left it alone. Like, it's like they accepted, they surrendered. And once they surrendered, the skin started to become better. With some conditions, of course, it doesn't become 100% better, but it does become better if you obsess less. I think so. In fact, it's also good for your mental health to try to not obsess over it. But that is hard. As someone who experienced it, it is hard to not look at your face and not see that big pimple on your chin. Like, and they always go in the chin, like jaw. Why? Why are you over there? They always go in the most weird places. But skincare routine has some mindset in it. Because I now took down I use just like 3 products now. In fact, oh my God, this story I guess is long because to heal my skin, it was so bad. I started to look at dermatologists because I was working with dermatologists, but I was looking for people who focus on holistic care, like wellness, who are focused on healing my skin through wellness. Because I can tell you that the dermatology side is also, it's good, especially with Accutane and for people who have serious acne conditions. It is great. There's things there. But it's just like the pharmacy industry, the entire pharmacy industry, even the dermatologist industry side, like those guys also exploit these like people's conditions because I think that some creams were just so expensive, just extremely expensive. They were just expensive, and I was like, so people have to, and people are on these drugs every month because you need it. Let's say you have rosacea or you have different conditions, eczema. You need these medications, you need these creams, but they're so expensive. And I was like, there has to be another solution, something that comes naturally from the earth that I can depend on, but I don't have to blow a bag. So for me, I realized during that time that creams and all this stuff, it does work, but it makes you dependent on it. Like your doctor will prescribe this, your dermatologist will prescribe this really nice cream, and it works, but it's so tiny. And it doesn't even last 30 days. But your insurance will not fill it up until it's 30 days. But it's working. And then when you stop using it, your skin breaks out some more. So you're dependent on the medication. That cycle right there used to break my heart. Seeing people calling and saying, man, I just filled this, but I need more. And it's just like, insurance is not going to pay. If you want to pay for it, you tell them how much, $100 even too little. And you see people like, what? I paid a $5 copay. Now I have to pay 100 something? Yeah, either that or you wait till the end of the month. And then by the time they get to the end of the month, the skin is already breaking out again because they stopped using the cream. No. So what I did, I researched this lady, and she had really nice reviews. She has a spa, and yeah, everyone was saying how their skin had changed when they went to her and everything. So I went there. Thank God. It's so funny because her building was like a 2-minute drive from where I was working at the dermatology pharmacy. So it was so interesting because right after work, I went to her, filled out the paperwork. But when she analyzed my skin, the first thing she told me was, "You're using too many products." That's literally the problem here. Products. Well, I know I said mindset was a problem, but she told me I was using a lot of products. And it's true. Now that I look back, I was using a lot of products. You know when you're trying to heal something and then you use the product for 2 days, you're like, oh, it doesn't work. Then you buy another product, oh, it doesn't work. You need to finish, first of all, you need to finish the bottle before you say it doesn't work. But I was so impatient. So she told me, I told her what I was using and she told me what I need. A moisture, like you can use a serum, a moisturizer, and maybe an oil to seal. That's it. She told me, I think, minimum, like maximum 5 products. She told me you don't need much. And I'm telling you, once I started that routine, she got me onto the clay mask, the Indian clay mask. Aztec is what it's called. I still use it up to today. Chef's kiss. If you struggle with acne, that joint helped me. So maybe it could help you. It's an amazing mask. But I'm telling you, cutting down my products to 3, which is how I am now, 3 things go on my face. I could put a serum, put my moisturizer, put some oil. That's it. That's it. You don't need much. That's how my skin came back. And when I tell you my skin came back, she came back. She came back. I still deal with random breakouts, dark spots, but honestly, after that experience, I don't even complain much about my skin because I know it could be worse. I know it could be worse. So, gratitude. If you're struggling with acne, you wake up, look at your face, and try to find something that is great about it. Besides you, I don't look at the acne because when people are talking to you, that they're looking at your face, they're not focused on your acne. You think they are. And if they are focused on your acne, then they are immature. So it's like you can't really blame them because they don't understand that this is something that's out of your control. Because some people legit ask me, Sophie, what happened to your skin? What's going on with your skin? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, if I knew, I would resolve it. Like sometimes people have the most annoying comments. Anyway, that was a learning time for me. I learned a lot. So I don't know if that answered the skin thing, but I think in there is some perspective. In everything that I said, you will find some perspective to hopefully help you with your skin because, yeah, skin is important. Having nice skin, it does boost your confidence. At least it boosts mine. Next question. Letting go of old friendships that hold no value. Healing from long-term romantic relationship. I guess that's 2 questions. Which one should we start with? Letting go of old friendships that have no value. How to? I'm guessing that's what she meant. He or she. Excuse me. Letting go of old friendships that have no value. Every friendship has value. It does. Let me explain. Even when people, because I've had friendships that didn't work out, so I'm speaking from experience. Even when people do you wrong or a friendship doesn't work, you learn something from it. So that means that it does have some value. Letting go of friendships. It sounds like you're trying to let go of a friendship that has no value to you right now. You think it has no value. But I don't think the person who's your friend thinks that same thing. Otherwise, would you guys be friends? I think that we want to talk about how our friendships have no value. And I really understand that. Like, we don't want the shallow friendships. But we also have to acknowledge that we play a role in that. In how deep our friendships are. If you feel like your friendships are not as deep as you want them to be, it's probably because you haven't taken them there. You have to create that space with your friends to tell them that let's talk about some real stuff. We don't have to be doing all this other stuff, whatever you do with your friends that you find that has no value. You can have that conversation and be like, I want to have more real conversations with you. And then, based off of what your friend says, that's when you can decide that your friendship has no value. But if you haven't brought up the conversation, then how do you know that it has no value? I think that we create the value in our friendships through showing up, through actually talking about what's going on with us. Because if we share what's going on with us, our friends are going to be inspired to share what's going on with them. And with that, you will get that deep connection, that friendship that you value. But it takes work from both of you. If you have a mindset of letting go of friendships that hold no value, you're going to let go of everyone. Because at some point, I think friendships are kind of passive, and at some point they're active, depending on the season that you're in your life. But I don't think that you become friends with someone who has no value, because otherwise, how are you friends? How are you friends? I think you can outgrow people. So maybe that's what you meant. Now, if you're outgrowing people, I think that still needs to be communicated. Maybe you're in a space, let's say you are in 2024, you want to improve your life. You want to focus more on your health, on building healthy habits. And maybe your friends were all about maybe partying or gossiping or all these things that are unhelpful, and you want to remove yourself from that. You need to communicate that. Don't just remove yourself and be like, you guys are always gossiping, always talking about people. I don't want to deal with y'all. In your head, you have to tell your friends that and tell them that I feel like the conversations we have are not helpful. I just want to remove myself. In the new year, if you want to join me, that would be great. But I think that if we say that any friendship that is not maybe filling our cup now, or that is not giving us what we want in this moment, is not holding any value, I think that's not correct. Yeah, I don't think that's correct. I think that conversations need to be had about how you feel in your friendships, and give your friends that grace to tell you maybe they're going through something, that they can't be there for you the way you want them to, that they can't be present the way you want them to. Give people that space before you drop them, before you let them go, before you leave them in that other space. I think that's important. That way, they're accountable. That way, they can be accountable. Maybe they want to come with you, you know? You might be leaving your friends to a healthier lifestyle, but maybe they want to join you. So, you can invite them and be like, hey, I'll be doing this. If you want to join me, come. Let's do this. I think that's helpful. So, if you're trying to have better friendships, I think communication is something that you cannot avoid. The communications that you have. Yeah, so speak to the people that you think that maybe you've lost touch with, that you think that your friendship doesn't have any value, to confirm that it really doesn't. And if it doesn't, then, you can slowly step away from that friendship. But I don't think I'm going to be the one to tell you how to do that. I think you're going to decide that on your own based off everything I've said. You're going to see that maybe some people you shouldn't be letting them go yet. They're still serving you. Maybe not in this season of your life, but maybe in the next season. Yeah, so I do also want to say that there are some toxic friendships. I need to acknowledge that there's friendships that really do not serve you. They are harmful to you. That these people, you cannot even talk to them. Maybe they're combative. Maybe they don't listen. Maybe you just feel unheard in general. I do understand if you're trying to let go of that kind of friendship, because those kinds of friendships can actually be extremely draining. I still do recommend communication, though, to let people know how they're making you feel before you leave them. That way, you give them a chance to apologize, a chance to work on themselves, a chance to see their behavior, or a chance to prove you right. But if you avoid that conversation entirely, you kind of block people from their growth. You block them from knowing how they come off to people, how they come off to you, and maybe other people that they love and care about. Wouldn't you want the same if you're not being a good friend? Wouldn't you want your friends to come and tell you that, hey, Sophia, you kind of weird these days. You don't show up. You flaky. You are insensitive. I don't like that. You make me feel not so great. Wouldn't you want that from your friend? That way you can apologize. That way you can do better. Would you just want them to go to ghost and never talk to you again? Because that's what we do these days. I think that's avoidant, especially if it's people you truly, truly care about. You gotta let them know in the way you prefer. You're going to decide how you tell them, but I think that those conversations actually they hold space for connection, deep, deep connection. But even if they don't, they hold space for alignment. That if someone shows you that they're not going to apologize or be accountable, then it shows you that that's not the person for you. That's going to be easy to let that friendship go. Yeah, you won't feel any guilt, you won't feel any way because you did everything on your end to resolve. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Yeah, the next part of that question was healing from long-term romantic relationship. With this one, I would have to ask you what exactly you're healing from. In fact, for that exact reason, I probably won't answer the question because I don't know what you're healing from. If you're healing from something traumatic, like you were in an abusive relationship, you were in a relationship that really damaged your mental health, you need to speak to a professional, a therapist, someone to guide you through those emotions and thoughts. It's not something you can how to, because there's something that needs to be resolved. It's energy that needs to be resolved before you can get to this other place. So yeah, for that question, I won't be able to answer it because I don't know what you're healing from. And because you've said healing from long-term relationship, yeah, I don't know. I think there might be trauma there or things that you might want to talk to a professional about, and I am not the person for that. Yeah. The last question. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. Let me sip on some coffee. I be forgetting that this is a podcast, so I don't really have to talk so fast and keep going. I could take a break, sip my coffee. My cup has lipstick all over. Ooh, if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcast or the audio, you need to come on here and see me. You need to come on YouTube and see all these facial expressions and yeah, the drama. All right, the last question. What got you into your professional career? This is a story right there. That's right. That right there is a story.